Welcome back to the Denasha Harrison Show here on Intellectual Radio. TNT Rooftop is where we are broadcasting from. And as I said, if you're just joining me now, we are at a wonderful location in the best part of Chicago that you can ever be in. That's right. We're on the west side of Chicago. The west side is the best side. That's my opinion. And this is my show, so I can say that with a big smile on my face. But we're here with the owner of TNT. I talked about it so much, talked about the menu, and we all thought it was a good idea to talk to the man himself. So, Mr. Anthony, welcome to the Denasha Harrison Show. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you for allowing us to be here in this wonderful location to do what we're doing. I'm gonna do everything that I can do to get back here as soon as possible. And before I actually leave tonight, I got to taste some of this food. I wish that we had like a some type of device where you can smell what's going on at this restaurant. All these wonderful smells right now. I'm looking at people. You can't see the people that are out actually enjoying themselves, but people are really enjoying the ambiance. They're enjoying the food, and it's just a wonderful space. So, how long have you been open, and why did you decide to do something like this off of Madison?
Well, we've been open since December 23rd of 23. And we officially opened inside, and then we officially opened the rooftop June 14th of 24. And I mean, Austin was a choice because it's where I'm from. I mean, it's home for the most part.
So, why a restaurant? Why not something else?
Um, I mean, the restaurant was more of a. My wife is a foodie, so like she eats a lot. You know what I mean? So it was more of something that developed from actually another situation she wanted as far as with clothing store. So we bought the property with looking for a clothing store. We built a clothing store, but then the building was so big that we had to figure out what would be best suitable for it to make it, make it worthwhile for what we had in our hands at the time.
Well, I think it was a great choice. I know when I grew up on this side of town, again, we lived off of Lamont. So Lamont and Maypole is where we grew up at. And so we used to walk down Lamont, make a right on Madison, and walk all the way to Austin. There used to be a spot called Terry's.
It's still there.
It's still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Some of the best Italian beefs that you can get, in my opinion, unless you got Italian beefs here at TNT.
I mean, no, we don't have them.
Okay.
Here.
So then I can go ahead and plug Terry. Some of the best Italian beefs that you can find. And so Terry's wasn't just about the Italian beefs and the Maxwell Polishes. Terry's was about a place in our community, and I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. If my father was a little short, then old man Terry would still stuff some extra fries in the bag because my father had me and my older brother in tow with him walking in December down to go get something to eat. Wasn't a lot of healthy food choices in the area as well. Uh, my uncle mentioned Buddy Bears that's been gone a long, long time, but that was the only grocery store that we really had in the area, not too far from here. And then you had Moo and Oinks back in the day where you can get your meats and things like that. And so the reason that I brought it up is because food places are not just places to serve food. Food places are not just where you can go ahead and get something to eat before they close at 10, 11 o'clock. There were certain places that we went to, and my father walked past a lot of stores to get to Terry's because he knew how Terry treated him and he knew how Terry treated his family. So, with that, how important is for you to be here doing what you're doing, not just because it's a great restaurant and ambiance, and not just because you're from here, but how do you feel about putting something like this in your community for the people?
I mean, I feel good. I feel like, I wanted to give the community something that a lot of us from this community don't have, which is exposure. So I wanted to give them a taste of something that was lacked for our community. You know what I mean? As far as if you want to say statistically, right? So I just wanted to give them something different. I got exposed to some things that made me start thinking in different ways and start applying myself in different ways. So I felt like it was only right that I, do the same, especially where I was from, considering that it's where I'm from. I mean, like, I know a lot of people from here that been through a lot that don't have certain opportunities or didn't have certain opportunities because of the people that they were brought up around, or the lack of exposure. How about, what I mean? So like giving back was a definite, and I just wanted, like I said, I wanted to make an impact, and I felt like if I was gonna make an impact, my neighborhood would be first, where I should make one at first, Like,
And when you talk about exposure, great example. In order to get something like this today, you have to travel to the Fulton Market, or you have to travel somewhere downtown. When you take a look at what's around you, and again, what's the address to the spot before I keep talking?
5405 West Madison.
Okay, so 5405 West Madison. That's where TNT Rooftop is located. The ambiance down below is great. The ambiance up here is great. In order to get something like this in the past, before this was here, you'd have to travel downtown. You'd have to travel up north. You'd have to travel Bronzeville, right? And so when you talk about that exposure, I agree that it is important because number one, the dollars are staying right here on the west side, right? People actually have options, choices, not just with the ambiance, but I'm looking at the menu. I'm seeing that you have plant-based products as well for those who maybe want to be vegan, or want something a little lighter. You didn't have a lot, and you don't have a lot of choices on the west side like this. So I think it's very important that you're giving back in that way. You probably could have opened up another Maxwell spot, or another, well, I'm not gonna shout those names out to those restaurants, you know, letter fish, or animal, restaurant. You probably could have just pop one of them up. But for me, I don't need another one of those type of spots. I'm a cigar smoker. I don't know if cigars are permitted here or what have you. However, just an idea. If you're not doing it, I think it'll be a wonderful spot for some sticks. Have a little cigar rolling convention up here. But you know, I don't want to have to burn my gas to go all the way somewhere else when I can just come to a place that number one I'm familiar with. Number two is doing for the community that I love, that taught me so much. And number three, if it's smelling as good, it's got to taste as good. I'm sorry, you can't have those smells and not match that with the taste. So I'm glad that you put something like that on the west side of Chicago. Um, do you plan on franchising? Do you plan on expanding? What's the goal with this brand TNT? And do you have other businesses that you're doing besides this restaurant?
I mean, yeah, we definitely plan on opening other business, other TNTs, as far as a different state or whatnot. And we have a few other businesses. Like I said, my wife has a clothing store. We also have a private event space downstairs that we rent out for like private parties or hostings for repasses, just events or whatnot, prom send offs, trucking. Also, I'm in the trucking semis.
Okay.
And we have a few things that we do.
So we want to make sure that people can patronize the businesses that you got going on, which is why I asked. And for those of you who don't know, this is a huge building. And besides the restaurant, is the clothing store located here as well?
Yeah, the clothing store is located downstairs. So the building is like 4,800 square feet.
Okay.
Clothing store is about 1,200 square feet, and the event space is another 1,200, and the inside of the restaurant is about 2,400.
Speaking of event spaces, uh, do you have any events on the calendar that's coming up besides what you got going on, besides the menu, besides the clothing store? Do you have any huge events that people can look out for?
Well, we don't. Well, actually, my wife handles all that, so I'm not sure. So,
Okay. So she handling all that.
mhm.
Okay. Well, yeah, she gonna share that. She gonna let folk know what it is. Well, she walking on. She gonna walk on and let folk know, and that's all right. That's all right. Go ahead.
So we do have events coming up. We actually just hosted a wedding on the rooftop as well. So we do weddings, birthday parties, repasses. Next week we have a UCAN event coming up. So they're gonna have a brunch or lunch meeting downstairs with
Okay.
about 50 people.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. We're gonna make sure we get the word out. I would like for you all to come on to the Denasha Harrison show and not only talk about this, but talk about other things that may be on your mind outside of the businesses that you do. I think it's important that you have um, business owners that look like us
Mhm.
that are representing beyond what we usually see on the mainstream. We have opinions, all right?
Definitely.
We have stories, we have experiences, we have struggles. And I believe that if someone is looking at this show and seeing what you all have accomplished, that that's very inspiring to them. I talked to a brother today again at the barbershop. I was at the barbershop and talked to a brother, and he had a lot of questions about, LLCs. He had a lot of questions about uh, some personal things like the how tos. And we discussed it. We chopped it up. I'm like, man, you need to go ahead and talk to somebody about A, B, C, X, Y, Z. And he explained to me how that was like a shot in the arm for him because that knowledge is not common to a lot of people that we think it would be common to. And when it comes to the restaurant business, and shout out to you, I know some people in the restaurant business is not an easy business at all. Not only are you all doing a full service restaurant, you all actually have other things going on in the space. So you got an event space slash restaurant slash clothing store. And I can understand how that actually would take somebody to be on top of their business to make sure it's running successful. Do you all see in your future, and this question is for either one of you, do you all see maybe some type of mentorship going on with folk that maybe would like to get into the same type of business that you all are into?
So I've actually hosted business classes here in our event space, Business 101. I do have a few people that I mentor now. Shout out to Briasia. She's away at college, but I took her under my wing under Dress 1213, which is my boutique. And then I also taught her business classes while she was in high school. I went to the high school and taught a class just for about, I think I went there twice. But yeah, I do some mentorship.
Okay, so if someone wants to be mentored by you, oh, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I mentor any of the friends I have around me, and like people that I come in contact with. So like I try to give it back whenever I get the opportunity, especially if I see someone's trying and trying to do better and go in a certain direction.
Okay, well, I think it'll be great to talk to you all more about how people can come and get the knowledge that you all are willing to share about successful business. Because whether it's a restaurant, which again, from what I understand, is a very hard business to maintain because you got standards that cannot fall when it comes to, you taking care of customers, people that's coming in that's never been here before, your locals, you have to maintain that standard. But whether it's a restaurant, trucking business, clothing business, event space, there's a formula. There's a formula that people should um, understand, learn, and know so that if there is something that they have to pivot from, they go ahead and plug that idea in, but they can still continue to have a successful business. So, what's your name, Mel?
Tanika Anderson.
Okay, Tanika Anderson and Mr. Anthony Anderson.
Yes, sir.
Nice to meet you. I'm
Nice to
glad
meet you
that I
too.
had the opportunity to come here. I will be back. I'm not just saying that because I'm on the show. I will be back. Actually, I got two uncles over there, so I'm gonna see if they want to buy their little nephew something to eat uh, after the show. But absolutely um, happy. I'm absolutely happy that I ran into you all because I did not know that we would be doing what we're doing here. I was on my way to the studio and it's like, yo, here's the address. This is where you need to get to. I'm like, and I'm doing the math, right? I'm like, Madison. Oh, that's over. That's right around the corner from where I grew up. Okay. All right. Yeah. I know exactly what that said. I didn't even need to put it in the GPS. So very happy to have you on the show. Thank you for again giving us the opportunity. And you all are listening to the Denasha Harrison Show here on Intellectual Radio. Make sure that you go to the intellectualradio.com website. Go ahead and press that donate button. Press that subscribe button as well, whether it's my show or any other show with the Intellectual Radio family. Go ahead and subscribe and support. And remember to feed your brain. So until the next time, if the levee don't break and the creek don't rise, we'll see you next time on the Denasha Harrison Show. Take care.